Welcome to the Property Guide. You're watching ET Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. This is your one-stop guide to property investments in the country. Remember, if you have any feedback about this show or questions about buying a home, write to us. Our email ID is at the bottom of your screen. You can also always reach me personally on Twitter. It'll be my pleasure to hear from you. Let's get straight to the next half hour. We'll begin by reviewing Bangalore's eastern neighborhoods. Indiranagar and the surrounding areas of Marthahalli and Brookfield will tell you if it makes sense to invest. We'll ask our experts to help us draw up a checklist of things to keep in mind when you rent out a home. And finally, in our Meet Your Developer segment, we sit down with the management of the Nahar Group. Joining us today in our studio, Arvind Nandan, independent analyst for property. Arvind, thank you for coming in. And Jayashree Kurup, head of content and research at magicbricks.com. Now, let's begin the show by talking about Bangalore. We've talked about other markets in the past, but today we're going to look at Bangalore East, the neighborhoods of Indiranagar, Alsur, Mahadevpura, KR-Puram. We'll find out if it makes sense to invest in any of these neighborhoods right now. First, let me bring in Avan, who has the latest price trends of those areas. Avan.
Thanks, Faye. Well, the prices in specific pockets of Bangalore have witnessed a smart up move over the last 2 years. Let's begin with Indiranagar, which is among the city's most expensive locations. Homes here are currently quoting at an average of 9,150 rupees per square foot, a whopping 57% increase in just 2 years. Prices in Ulsur have witnessed a meager 3% rise in the last 2 years. The homes here are currently quoting at an average of 7,325 rupees per square foot. Homes in the suburb of KR-Puram are currently quoting at an average of 3,475 rupees per square foot, an increase of 30% in the last 2 years. Brookfield has witnessed a 23% increase in the home prices over the last 2 years. The homes here are currently quoting at an average of 5,075 rupees per square foot compared to 4,125 rupees per square foot in 2012. Prices in Mahadevpura have witnessed a similar up move. The homes here are currently quoting at an average of 4,375 rupees per square foot, an increase of 28% in 2 years. With that, it's back to you, Faye.
All right, Avan, thank you so much for those details. But the thing about Alsur and Indiranagar is that they've both fast become the hip neighborhoods to be in Bangalore. But there isn't enough land available for big constructions, which is why a lot of those large projects are happening on the outskirts. Tell us what sort of future you see for residential property, both in Alsur and Indiranagar.
You're actually spot on. Indiranagar is probably one of the most happening precincts of Bangalore. It's within a stone's throw of MG Road, and that helps. If you are closer to MG Road, you're definitely going to be a very ultra-developed kind of a location. You're right. There's very little or practically no land available, so you can't expect fresh constructions or new constructions to be happening there. But what you will definitely continue to see there is the current developments, particularly the residential developments, some of them bungalows, being increasingly used or diversified or converted in use for commercial usage and such other things. The pricing in Indiranagar will continue to remain high. You know, every city has different grades of locations which vary according to their in their price bands. And same is true of Indiranagar. It is one place which has seen exorbitant pricing, but something which has also gone up very significantly over the years.
Jayashree, if there's nothing new to buy in Indiranagar, tell us what the secondary market is right now. What sort of interest are you witnessing on the site? And of course, for a market like Indiranagar and Alsur, what sort of rental returns can you hope to get if you buy an apartment right now and rent it out?
If you look at capital values, it's roughly about 8,000 to 11,000 rupees on the website. And if you look at other areas around it, it's in the 4.5, 5.5, up to 6,000. Alsur is in the 7,500 per square foot range. So really, Indiranagar is significantly higher, but there is robust demand for Indiranagar. And if you look at what's happening, I think Indiranagar, roughly, you're getting about, in the top rental localities, it is number 6. in Bangalore. So obviously, though it is older properties, it is definitely a preferred locality, and you're getting roughly about 20,000 to about 25,000 per month in Indiranagar houses. We see that the rest of the markets, if you look at KR Puram, Mahadevpura, Marthahalli and all that, 3,200 to 5,200 is roughly the price range, and we are getting, I think Brookfield is priced around 4,700 to 5,700. But Indiranagar is definitely the pick of the lot. Alsur is next in line, and both have robust demand. In the last 1 year, we've seen roughly about a 20 to 22% rise in values here.
I want to bring you in here, Arvind. Now, the good part about the neighborhoods that Jayashree is talking to us about, also in contrast to Indiranagar and Alsur, there's Purvankara Brigade Group, there's Prestige, Ozone, Nitesh Estates, all of them are building in Brookfield and Whitefield. Does it make more sense for me to go there? Won't there be a risk of oversupply in a Whitefield?
If you are an investor who is looking to earn 70, 80% or 100% returns over a period of 5 to 7 years, then you must go to those precincts. But if you are a different kind of an investor, if you are an investor who will invest in a very high value property, which will not grow at that rate, but will definitely maintain its edge, maintain its premium, and in times to come, it will still remain ahead of other properties, you may still choose to be in Indiranagar, but depends what's your investment ticket size. If you are somebody who is willing to invest 2-3 crores, then why not? Okay. And if you are somebody who's looking to invest 40 lakhs today, which will eventually become a crore after 5 years, then go to those precincts. So you have to clear your mindset. You have to read yourself as to what I am and how much investment pocket do I have.
So if you're looking to buy a home in any of the locations we just talked about in Bangalore, here are some options that have been put down by our experts.
Here are some interesting options in Bangalore. Sharda Nivas by Sterling Developers, Willemins by Aesthetic Construction, Aqua by Sarar Homes, Sunrise by Abhinava Construction, Shilpita Splendor Annex by Maitri Developers, Casablanca by Isha Infra, Vrindavanam by SV Constructions, Lakeside Habitat by Prestige Group, and Brentwood by Vaswani Group.
Let's take some questions. Lakshman is written in from Hyderabad, but he wants to buy property in Electronic City in Bangalore with a 5-year time horizon. He shortlisted the Prestige Sunrise Park, Prestige Casa Bella, and the Arid Atlantis Breeze, which is a plotted development project. He wants to know which one makes most sense right now as an investment decision. Jayashree, what would you recommend he does?
Prestige, I think roughly you're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 rupees per square foot, and that about 65 lakh investment. The size that you get is about 1,100 square feet, and you are getting a rental return of about 12,000 to 16,000 in that locality. So in the last 1 year in this locality we've seen a 14% rise. Now he's asked whether he should buy a project there. See, Prestige is a good developer. You really don't need to worry about the credentials of the developer here. But he's looking at Arath Breeze, which are where he's looking at plotted development. The price is roughly about 1,350 per square foot. And the possession, it's close to possession. Next 6 months, they're giving possession. Plots always appreciate better. Apartments appreciate less, but it's easier to maintain and you get a rental return while you're waiting for the leveraged value. So now his decision is between a plot and an apartment. The apartments are by a good developer, so we would recommend that. And if he's looking at a long-term investment horizon of about 5 years or more, he can look at a plot.
All right, plots will give you steeper appreciation, but there are things to keep in mind. Let's take another question. Neeraj Gupta has written in, he wants to buy a 1-bedroom apartment in Mumbai with a budget of 30 to 35 lakh rupees. He also wants good rental returns. Give him a few options. Now, that's a tough ask because 30-35 lakh rupees, you're going to have to go fairly outside of the city of Mumbai, and then automatically rental returns come down. Where would you recommend he considers what would you consider as a neighborhood?
It's actually a very difficult choice. 30-35 lakhs in Mumbai is a very hard call these days. I would still suggest try and look at Mira Bhayandar in that belt or Vasai Virar in that belt. You may still have certain developments which are done by local developers, but with all the permissions in place and everything, you may find some of the options in these belts. But if you come closer to the main city, the suburbs of Bombay, that's going to be absolutely difficult. So stick to the far suburbs, Vasai Virar, Mira Road, Bhayandar, and do your due diligence very accurately. There are a lot of developments, by the way, which are priced even at 20-25 lakhs, but you may not find all the permissions in place, and you may end up buying something which will land you in trouble.
Jayesh, I want to bring you in here. Now, for someone who has 35 lakh rupees, I'm sure you've already got the numbers for us of what neighborhoods in Mumbai will give him strong rental returns. I also want you to consider one more thing. If he's looking only to buy and rent it out, does it make sense for him to consider Pune in that budget?
I think Pune would be a much better option. In Mumbai, like Arvind said, you'll get Mira Road, Virar, Kalyan. We do have options here. And if you spend, it's about 65 to 7,900 on Mira Road, and you get a better rental return of 7 to 11,000 rupees. In Virar and Kalyan, you're spending about 4,000 to about 6,000 rupees a square foot, and you're getting roughly about 4,000 to 7,500, depending on what your property is. If you move towards Pune, the prices are much lower, the quality of apartment that you get is good, and there is significantly higher rental returns there.
Neeraj, that's the advice you're getting. Consider Pune over Mumbai if you're only doing an investment to rent out. That might make much more sense. If you have a question for us, of course, you can write back to us. Our email ID is on your screen right now. Welcome back. You're watching the Property Guide on ET now. Thank you for staying with us. Both Arvind and Jayashree have stayed with us as well, helping us make smarter decisions. Now, keeping with our focus of helping you with every aspect of owning or buying a home, today we're going to talk about renting out properties. We'll ask both of our guests to make a list of everything we should keep in mind when we rent out a home. Arvind, I first want to ask you about this. We talk about investing, and obviously that means renting out a home as well, but it's a lot easier said than done. Now, the first thing we need to arrive at is the value of the rental agreement. How do we arrive at that value?
There are two distinct parts, in deciding this. One is knowing the capital value of your apartment. That's relatively easier if you have, deals or sales going on in your neighborhood. Even if you don't have sales going on, then you can look at what are the rental rates that are going on in your neighborhood, and use a certain capitalization rate, 5%, 6%, whatever prevails in that market. But to do this, you need to have some kind of a background knowledge or technical knowledge. You may approach a valuer, not necessarily an IPC, but you can actually approach a valuer who can do this for you. And then figure out what is my capital value. Once you have the capital value in place, then try and see what kind of rental returns are usually earned in that neighborhood. The key thing to decide here is, how do I break that into security deposit and a monthly rental? For that, again, you will have to look at the precedents that are there in...
Every city has a different culture when it comes to these things.
It could be, and those are negotiable as well.
Let's talk about this now. It's well and fine to arrive at a value on your calculator, but anybody who's owned a home to rent in Hyderabad over the last 2 years will tell you that's not enough. You need customers or you need occupants. How do we go about finding these? Is the local broker the best way to go? Are websites the best way to go? What would be your advice to someone who's looking to rent out at this point?
See, some markets are very open. If you go to the broker, they do give you good advice. In some other markets, if you go to the broker as somebody who wants to lease out their property, you will be given a much lower rate. So it's much better to do your research, and that's why we make a lot of values available to the consumer. Whether it is capital value, rental value, at least benchmark values are available. Use those as your current thing, and go check out the local brokers and see what they offer to you.
Let's talk about the agreement now. This is the big thing. Is there a format that people can use when they're leasing out their homes right now? Is there something that they have to make sure that their rental agreements have?
Most of the markets today have a very well-set format for lease agreements. But the thing to remember is, it's not lease all across India. It's leave and license somewhere, it's lease somewhere, and something else somewhere. So you need to know what prevails in your market. Leave and license, although they're all similar in spirit, but they're technically somewhat different. You need to first know what exactly prevails. What is the standard duration or tenure of an agreement? In Mumbai, for example, people usually lease out residential apartments only for about 11 months. So you need to first figure out what formats prevail, what tenures prevail, what are the basic terms that are usually accepted as norms in those markets. And then you should make up your mind as to, what all should I have in my agreement.
All right. Jayashree, very quickly, do you want to give us a checklist of things we should keep in mind when we're looking at an agreement or signing something on our homes?
Yeah, these are some common sense kind of issues that you should have. The date and month of your of the execution of the lease is very important. You should have the tenure of the lease clearly in your lease agreement. You should have the details of your property, the residential address, the location, that kind of thing. If your address is incomplete, it's not a valid legal document. You should also have the details of the financials, such as the rent, what are you, how are you charging the lessee. All this is important. Have it, and the security deposit, what kind of rent increase there will be. All this becomes part of your lease agreement. Also give the details of the property in case of damage. Suppose the tenant damages your property, it is good to have documented what all the property has, so that you will be able to claim damages. The other thing is that it can be registered or unregistered. It's good to register because it is a very valid legal document, and in case of trouble, that stands you in good stead.
All right, so document everything. And of course, if you want that list, you can write to us. We'll have one of our team members email that list to you. Let's take a few more questions. Dhaval has writes in from Rajkot in Gujarat. He wants to invest in property with a budget of 1 crore rupees. He wants to know which locations and projects will offer him the best possible returns in the country. Jayashree, do you want to take that on? Which is the strongest possible location right now to invest in?
Look, I've taken a basic assumption that I thought he might be wanting to invest in Gujarat, and we've taken 2 locations within Gujarat where he can invest. One is Ahmedabad, the other one is Vadodara. If you look at Ahmedabad and Vadodara, you have, with a 1 crore budget, you can get a good apartment, really good apartment. And you know, if you take if in Ahmedabad, you have Nagar, Bhopal and South Bhopal. All 3 of these are roughly in the 3,000 to 4,500 per square foot range, and all of them offer a rental return of about 11,000 to 19,000 depending on which location and which budget. If you look at Vadodara, you will get size, you know, huge apartments for these ranges. If he's looking at other cities, look at, you know, I'm assuming that he's looking at Gujarat because he is from Gujarat. If you're looking at other cities, I would say you must know which city you want to invest in.
All right, so we keep coming back to the same thing. Make sure you understand why you're investing and how you're going to manage that investment.
Yes.
You wanted to add something?
With a 1 crore budget, I would like to, you know, show him another aspect. Why wouldn't you want to invest in a commercial property?
Because commercial property has been dead nearly for the last 3 years.
But
are you expecting some sort of revival?
There definitely has to be a revival. We live in a cyclical industry, in a cyclical economy. So there has to be a revival, and the revival is probably around the corner. When I say around the corner, I mean 1.5 years or so. If you have 1 crore, and if you have not made up your mind only on residential, then look at commercial as well, in some good precincts, in good developments, because commercial can give you far superior returns. And like I said, you know, it depends on the economy. But if good times start, then you will definitely make money there.
One last question on the show. Melroy has written in, he wants to buy an apartment in Panvel with a budget of 60 to 70 lakh rupees. Shortlisted the Arihant Akanksha by Arihant Superstructures in Panvel in Navi Mumbai. What are the future prospects for this location and this project, Jayashree?
A little into the future. The Arihant Akanksha project is coming up. He should be able to get roughly about 1,200 square feet apartment at about a basic sale price of about 4,600 rupees. When complete, he should be able to get about 12,500 to 17,000 depending on the location of his unit. He should be able to get a rental return. You know, we asked a lot of users to rate Panvel as a locality. We have been crowdsourcing locality information, asking users to rate localities. And Panvel has been given a fairly high rating of about 4 plus out of 5 because they feel that there are a lot of social infrastructure available here. Into the future, but I think it is something that you should be able to get.
All right, we're unfortunately running out of time on this particular segment, but Arvind and Jayashree, thank you so much for spending time with us. If you have questions for either one of them, write to us on the email ID that's at the bottom of your screen. Welcome back. You're watching the Property Guide on ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. It's time now for our Meet the Developer segment. Joining us today on the show is Manju Yagnik, Vice Chairperson of the Nahar Group. Manju, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the Property Guide. Now, we know that the last 1 year has been tough for developers in Mumbai. Sales have slowed down. permissions and approvals have slowed down as well. Give us your outlook from what we know so far on the property market in Mumbai for the coming year, given the fact that we are going to see a change in Delhi.
Actually speaking, past 2 years in fact were not really very good for real estate industry. It was a very rough patch, and I think with this kind of stability, I feel that coming year will be, the signs have already started seeing that sales are happening now, and a lot of construction and launches are on, and we all developers have got a very good hope and great hope from coming up government also.
Well, tell us this then, Manju. One of the constant problems that customers in Mumbai have is that property is unaffordable. Do you think that if this new government, when it does come in, if it manages to ease up the problems in terms of regulation, in terms of approvals, in terms of making land and infrastructure accessible to developers like yourself, can we look forward to more affordable housing in the city?
See, the thing is that there are so many taxation are loaded on the developer, and at the same time delays in approval. Cost is escalating, whether it is manpower or whether it is you talk about all the construction materials, everything, finance cost, it's very high. And at the same time, we feel that government should implement GST and single window clearances, and at the same time we are also expecting that we should get an infrastructure industry status. So when all these things comes, we have a better facility of finances, and even the customer also will be benefited. We feel that affordable housing is possible.
All right, so tell our viewers right now, for those who are looking to buy homes over the next 1 year, what do they have to look forward to from Nahar? What are you planning right now? What's in the pipeline?
Right now, I think they should go into a good community, which is really required. Today's buyer does not want just a house in some corner and that's it. No, he wants a completely developed area where he wants all the facilities, all the school, hospitals and everything, where he can get, for that townships are an ideal listing, where developer is developing apart from the houses all other facilities like club and all medical, school and other facility. And I think he should go with the brands where to sustain, brand also to sustain, they do a lot of such community jobs. And I think market is very good. You should take an opportunity to buy at this point of time.
Are you offering any sort of discounts or any sort of freebies right now for customers looking at your projects?
The freebies and discounts in such cases are right now is absolutely not possible, because we are really offering things value for money, for which Nahar is known for.
Also tell us what you're planning outside of Mumbai. We know that you looked at Pune, you are developing fashion residencies in Pune right now, but outside of Pune and Mumbai, are there any other cities that Nahar is considering at this point? Can you take us through what your plans are?
Yes, apart from Pune and Mumbai, this now very soon we are launching in Chennai also. It's also one of a world-class project we are doing in the heart of Chennai at Adyar. And it will be, all the sea-facing apartments, and it will be also very nicely designed apartment we are planning now.
Manju, thank you so much for spending time with us on Property Guide. Now, if you have questions for Manju in particular, write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. You can always reach me on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching.